Welcome to Slapshot Podcast, episode number 93. I'm your host, Christopher Morais. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Come on in. Welcome to Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. You're watching this on any other day. Happy whatever day it is you're watching it. Slide right on in. Grab yourself your favorite beverage. Grab your snack. We got a ton of things to get to today. Some news around the league, of course. Some big things happening in the Montreal Canadiens universe. So we're going to dive into that. We're also going to look at some fantasy hockey, some waiver wire pickups. Lots of you play fantasy hockey, as do I. So we're going to give out some players here that should be on your radar or on your team. So don't wait, all right? Go out, get them, win your league, and then taunt your league mates for that. If you have found yourself in here by accident, I appreciate you being here. If you're watching over on YouTube, go ahead and hit the sub button, ring the bell. YouTube.com/@slapshotpod. You can follow the podcast as well on X, right? At Slapshot Podcast. You can follow me on X at FuzzyChris91. If you hit the link tree, then you can subscribe to the podcast in an audio form wherever you enjoy it. Google, Apple, Spotify, everywhere else you could possibly get it. But make sure you go ahead and do so. Hit a like, hit a rate, subscribe, whatever the button is there on your favorite platform. Does a bunch to help push the podcast out on the interwebs. All right, so I appreciate you all for doing that in advance. As always, we're going to get to the news. We got so much to do, so we don't have time. I have to play at 7. I'm doing this on a Tuesday because yesterday, Monday, was Canadian Thanksgiving. I went to go watch the Alouettes win, so that's kind of cool. There's nothing better than, listen, fall is the best time of year for sports, you know that, but something about going out, watching afternoon football, watching the team win, it just smells great. Let's get into the breaking news here, okay? Because first we're going to start off with some maybe some down news, depending on how you look at it. But the Ottawa Senators have announced that Brady Tkachuk is expected to miss at least 4 weeks due to injury. We don't know what the injury is. At least I don't know what it is. We don't know how he got it. We don't know where. But this is not good if you are the Ottawa Senators, who have gotten off to a less than ideal start, right? Goaltending seems to be an issue there. I'm old enough to remember when people thought Linus Ullmark coming over was going to save this team. It hasn't. And now Brady's going to be out. Again, it says at least 4 weeks. That is a month without their leader and captain. I don't know if the Ottawa Senators are cooked, but it's not great on the other side. So, I mean, in terms of fantasy impact, this is not great because you probably took Brady with a first-round pick. Now, of course, if you got yourself a subscription over at the Fantasy Alarm and got my fantasy hockey draft guide, you knew exactly why you should not be drafting Brady Tkachuk. Now, injuries can never be predicted, okay? But this kind of makes it worse. Kind of makes it worse because you took a player way too early in your drafts. Now he's hurt. Again, the NHL is a better place when he is in the lineup. He definitely helps the Ottawa Senators, makes them a better team. This is just unfortunate for him. Let's get on to massive great news today. Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes have both signed 5-year extensions to remain with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Jeff Gorton gets a promotion. He's now vice president of hockey operations, so he basically runs the ship. Kent Hughes stays as a general manager. Both these gentlemen have done a fantastic job in Montreal. I can't stress that enough. And it feels like so long ago where the Montreal Canadiens were 3 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup, and then everything fell apart. And then they bring in this whole new leadership and management, and there were some growing pains there, not going to lie. There were some growing pains. But it starts from the top. It starts from Jeff Molson, and then it trickles down to everybody else. And it's about shifting the culture, making this a place that players want to be, people want to be. It's no secret that a lot of people say it's night and day between, this regime and the Marc Bergevin regime, right? It's a lot more fun to come to work, even on days where it's not as fun because you're losing hockey games. But again, this is fantastic. Both gentlemen deserve it. They've done a great job. We're not even at the tippity top yet of the mountain, but it already looks fantastic. So both gentlemen, a massive round of applause. They deserve their contract extensions. This is fantastic. If we're going to stick with contract extensions, this one hit yesterday, and it hit hard. Because Lane Hutson signed an 8-year, $8.85 million per season extension to stay. I mean, he wasn't going to go anywhere, but stay with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, this has a projected value, the contract, over its lifetime, of 97% positive value. You understand how crazy that is? Just to put this into perspective, the Connor McDavid contract had 100% positive value, okay? And we understand the type of discount here. 8.85 is a crazy discount. I don't think you know how much of a discount it is. I understand in the comparisons with other young defensemen that have signed, Luke Hughes, Jackson Lacombe. First of all, both players got $9 million, if I'm not mistaken. And Lane Hutson is the only one of those three to have won Rookie of the Year. And he is just starting. Like, he's just growing. He still has one more year left on his rookie deal, so this one doesn't start next year. Starts the year after that. But considering how the salary cap is exploding and the money that could be there for players, for him to take $8.85 million and say, I'm good with this, is fantastic. This is I'm just going to put it in perspective here. Let me see. Let me get this here, okay? Just you get it. This is from Dom Lucetic of The Athletic. He's the one who he does these cool little fancy charts that I like to read. Like, his market value contract is $17.8 million. Now, I'm not saying the Montreal Canadiens should have given him $17.8 million off the rip. But can you see how as he goes on and he gets better and better and better, if he stays at his net rating as it is or improves, like, he'd be a defenseman easily worth $15 million into his prime. And he's taken 8.85, 8.9. Let's round it up. Like, that is nuts. And a couple of things here. There was a lot of talk about the Montreal Canadiens wanting to get this done before the season started. They tried to look at deferred money so they could get Lane Hutson as much money as possible into his pockets, because don't forget, Quebec is bad for taxes. Trust me, if you live here, you know. A lot of the money that he's getting is signing bonus. Like, it's front loaded. $11 million signing bonus in his first year. I think it's like a $1 million salary or something like that. And that's what players want. Obviously, signing bonuses and salary are taxed in two different ways. I'm not a tax expert, but I'm sure agents know people who do. Again, Kent Hughes, having been an agent, I think understands that. But a lot of talk about how they were trying to get this done and how it was looking. And again, agents are there to make sure their clients get paid. And you know my opinion on this. I will always advocate for the player to go out and get a maximum bag, because you are a hockey player for a short period of time. You never know when your career is going to end. Secure your future. Secure your bag. Go get it. Okay? And that's what agents do. It's good for players to get paid. It's also good for other players in the future, because when it comes time to go to arbitration, you look at comparables, and you want those comparables to be high, right? Like, that's an understanding. Agents also get paid based on how much money these contracts are worth. So everybody's got a financial interest in this, right? And at the end of the day, it sounds like Lane Hutson just said, hey, man, I just want to play hockey, right? A lot of people are saying, hey, maybe it's a distraction for him. He didn't want it to be a distraction. The team as well kind of said, yeah, there was a little bit of not pressure, but like Montreal is a slow cooker. right? Everything gets out. There's too much talk. Lane just wants to come early to the rink and play hockey. This is the business side of sports. It has to get done. So evidently, I'm sure he looked at his agent and said, hey, let's do this, right? What was it? Saturday and Sunday, apparently Monday they dropped the news. But Saturday and Sunday saying, hey, let's do this. I'll take it. And at the end of the day, the player always decides what he wants, right? Like, let's not get it twisted. Players decide what they want. Lane Hutson decided he wanted to be here, and he felt like $8.9 million a year to do it was a good idea. So, but again, this is a crazy discount for the Montreal Canadiens. Just an absolute crazy discount. Now, how does this look? The Montreal Canadiens here, now, they have, next news, we're just going to talk about his contract. That's the news here. Dobson, Hutson, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, and Gooley. We're going to call that the core, okay? Whatever you want to call it. They are locked up for $47 million, okay? That is going to represent 38% of the cap in 2030. In 5 years, if this team still wants to be competitive with the way the salary cap is exploding, they're going to have almost 60% of the salary cap free to go out and add players to this team and make them a better team. There are lots of players who have taken friendly deals. Let's not get it twisted. The Kaden Gooley contract looks fantastic. The Slafkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield contracts, they look fantastic. Noah Dobson taking on, like, the contract he was given as well, also looks great. He has looked great, by the way. Noah Dobson is exactly what you wanted when you brought him over. He is a good defenseman. The points are not there yet, but when he's on the ice, good things happen. And all of a sudden, Mike Matheson, you don't hear many people shitting on him anymore, do you? Well, of course not, because he doesn't have to be that guy anymore. He looks around and he goes, man, I got all these guys to help out. He can just ease into his role, play his role. It's a contract here for him as well, by the way. He can just ease in, do what he needs to do to earn himself another contract, whether it's here or somewhere else. Same thing. He can decide if, he wants to take less money than what he's making now, obviously, and be a part of this, or again, if he wants to go secure his bag, do so. I'm not going to take anything away from players who want to go out, secure their bags, because they deserve it. But this is like, it's fantastic. I'm so just thrilled with the position this team is in because of the smart leadership in place. Nobody's getting finessed, right? A good player agent, now turned general manager, understands both sides. And it's buying into the culture of saying, hey, you want to win or do you want to get paid? And sometimes that's a choice that players can make. Now, I'm not saying you can't get paid and win. You can do both. Like, let's not pretend like $9 million is nothing, right? Players don't work in dollar figures anymore. They work in percentage of the cap. That's evidently what they work with now. That's what agents want to work with. That's what general managers also want to make sure that it's not a dollar figure amount. The Montreal Canadiens will spend all the way to the top of whatever cap it is. That's not a problem in this city. But it's getting players to buy in and say, yes, I want to be here. I want to win. And you got to sell that to them as well and say, hey, others have done it ahead of you, right? Taking maybe a little bit less money to be here. You want to fit in with that, yes or no? So, again, just Kent Hughes going out doing a master work here, right? Speaking of master work, I found this tidbit, and I thought it was funny. You remember Darnell Nurse, right? You remember Darnell Nurse of the Edmonton Oilers? You remember his contract that he signed? Darnell Nurse, by the way, making $9.25 million. He's making more money than Lane Hutson is. Just put that into perspective. But remember that god-awful contract that he got? Do you know who was the agent that negotiated that for him? Exactly. It was Kent Hughes. Man got his client paid. He got him paid. Now listen, that's probably one of the worst contracts ever. But he got his money for his client. And he convinced somebody to give his client that kind of money. And now he sits on the other side. And he's no longer, he's making sure he's not signing those bad deals. But isn't that funny? I mean, listen, smart people do smart things. All right? Again, Darnell Nurse is not crying from a monetary standpoint because he got paid and his agent did his work. Ken Hughes did what he needed to do when he was a player agent. Now he's on the other side, making sure he's not handing out a ton of money. But it must be something to be a former player agent, now general manager, because I feel like it's playing poker with, like, you're looking at the other person's cards. You can literally see them because nobody knows more about what a player is going through, the decisions, how the negotiations work, than a player agent. That's like at a good one at that, right? And now you're sitting on the other side. You've heard it all. You've heard every tactic. You know exactly what the answer is and how you got to go around it. Some people playing chess while others are playing checkers. But yeah, I found that one funny. I thought that gave me a little chuckle when somebody brought it to my attention. They were like, yeah, Ken Hughes signed that. I was like, oh, man. My man. So there you go. That is the news of the week. All right, let's walk in here to our main topic here. We're going to talk fantasy hockey waiver wire. Now, this is technically week 2 in fantasy hockey. Week 1 was last week. You didn't really have to add anybody because you drafted a whole team, right? So you don't have to do a whole bunch of that. So we're going to target 5 players, okay? 5 players that should be on your fantasy team. Now, fantasy teams look different. You have 8-team leagues. You have all the way up to 20-team leagues. I don't know many 20s. But there are many different types of leagues. There are sub-leagues where you set your lineup once. At the beginning of the week, you have other lineups that are set every day. Scoring is different. Positioning is different. Your league probably looks different from my league, okay? I get that. This is a general blueprint. I'm using this. The blueprint I used here is a standard 12-team head-to-head league in Yahoo. That's the base point, okay? If you play fantasy hockey enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's the basis reference point. Again, I only used Yahoo. I don't play on ESPN. You probably shouldn't either, okay? No offense, ESPN. You're just not a hockey product. I play on Yahoo, so numbers are from there as well. These are general guidelines. If you already have these players, great. That's the first step. If you don't, head to the waiver wire. Go add them. That's your decision to make. I'm not going to tell you who you're dropping. If you got guys who are maybe injured, maybe you got a rotating spot or a player you're willing to part with early. Again, this is week 2 of the NHL season. It's a long one, okay? Don't do anything drastic. I know some people come up with these made-up rules. Oh, I can't drop or I can't add or I can't trade within the first 3. Don't self-impose rules that don't exist, okay? Don't do that to yourself. Don't limit yourself. Have an abundance mindset. If there is a player that can make your team better today, do it. Okay? We're not mortgaging the future here, okay? Don't start dropping players that you took super high because he had a couple, right? He had 3 bad games. You know what I mean? We're not dropping Linus Hallmark, all right? That's kind of what I'm getting at here, all right? So let's dig into this. The first player here is Frank Nazar. That's right. Now, if you're in a league with me, you cannot add Frank Nazar because I already have him. So I made sure to do my homework. I added Frank Nazar in the Total Hockey Now pool that I have, right? With the boys, Adam Bernard, Anthony Rivera, right? Total Hockey Now. You could also watch me there. Midway through the second period of game 1, I saw Nazar got he scored a goal, got an assist, and I was like, I've seen enough. Sign me up. I had some holes. I had some guys who were injured, put them on IR plus, went straight to get Frankie Nazar. He's on my team. You should probably get him too. Now, look, he's got 1 goal, 3 assists in 4 games. Nothing crazy. Second line center, but he's on the top power play unit in Chicago. Okay. Chicago's going to roll out Connor Bedard down the middle. At some point, I think maybe they move Bedard to the wing and they play him with Nazar, which would be fantastic, by the way, for both players. Okay, but it's not happening there. Top power play units to me, when you're looking for players, you want players in the top 6 and players on top power play units. That's where all the fun is. That's where you're going to get your production from. The guys in the bottom 6 usually play less, and most teams don't have 2 good power play units. They have 1. You roll out your best unit. Secondary unit is fine. Only in Montreal do we try to split the cake down the middle, right? The Montreal Canadiens, by the way, entering tonight, their power play is 3 of 15. So again, 1 top unit, and then the second one when the first one didn't work. Okay. Important stat here to remember as well. Nazar is averaging close to 9. He's averaging over 19 minutes per night. He's closer to 20. That is a lot of ice time for a young player in the NHL. Now, the Chicago Blackhawks as well, you understand this, especially in football, with something called game script, okay? So you expect a game to go a certain way, and that could influence how a player's production is going to be. So I'll give you an example. In football, if a team is good at stopping the run, but they're not good at stopping the pass, probably expect the quarterback to spend more time passing the ball. Just makes sense, right? So maybe the guy running the ball doesn't have as much success. Okay? Game script is when, in the NHL at least, or the way I see it, the Chicago Blackhawks are not a very good team. So most nights they're going to be trailing. They're going to be playing a lot of catch-up hockey. They're not going to spend a lot of time leading or tied. They're mostly going to be playing catch-up hockey, which means your best players are going to be on the ice more, right? Because you need them. You need a goal. You need to try to win the game. You need to try to close the gap. These players are going to play more. Game script affects them. Now, I'm not saying that because a player is on a really, really good team that it's not it's not going to work. But this is how you get a little bit of a boost to certain players on certain teams, especially players that are on bad teams. If I got a guy on a bad team and he's not having a chance in the top 6 to play or see significant minutes, I mean, where is he going to get his production from, right? Something's got to give. So this is why I like Frankie Nazar here. A lot of minutes, a lot of quality minutes. Again, he has played 4 games. I get it. Okay? But a point per game pace is pretty good for a guy you can get off the waiver wire today. All right? So again, if you're in a league with me, you can't add him. Sorry, my bad. My bad. I took care of business before. All right? Next player here. Hey, look at that. Zach Balzik. Everybody's talking about all the players coming over to the Montreal Canadiens and how could St. Louis just give Bolduc away for free. He's got 3 goals and an assist in 3 games played. Okay? Goal in the game. He's on pace for 82 goals this season. I mean, look, the math is mathing. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Third line winger. But again, Montreal runs through their top 9 pretty consistently. Top power play minutes. Now, for the moment, he is there. And again, the Montreal Canadiens power play is 3 of 15 to start the year. So something's got to change. I personally don't think Bolduc is the guy who should be on that top unit. I don't. Okay? I also would like to see Bolduc play with Demidov. With Demidov and Kapanen. I'm just saying it. Okay? Those guys could be a lot of fun. Bolduc is a talented player. He scored goals when he was in junior. He had a fantastic second half last year with St. Louis. Now he's come over to Montreal, and he's made the most of his opportunities, okay? Because he's third line worries. The top power play minutes is nice. We're not seeing it right now. But, again, his average time on ice here is sitting at 15 minutes, which is, it's just okay. He is making the most of what he's getting. But when a coach can trust a player to go out there, play well, and perform with the minutes, it's not always about the quantity of minutes that you get. Sometimes it's the quality of them. And he's getting the qualities. And maybe the third line winger role is working for him because he doesn't have to play against the opposing team's top matchups, right? And he's a great shooter. Fantastic shooter. So I'd like to see the time on ice maybe bump up by 2 minutes, get around the 17 minutes. I could feel better. Maybe a top 6 roll be kind of nice. Again, with Kapanen and Demidov, just, I don't know, let it roll 1 period, see what we get. You know what I mean? Let it run. And you can see the rest of the league starting to take over, by the way. His Yahoo ownership today is 41%. That's gone up 22% in the last 24 hours. The rest of the league is starting to take note. You should too. Okay? You need a winger with some upside. I have found him for you. You're welcome. I'm just saying. You need a winger, take shots. Go with Bolduc. Next. Here we go. We got a good one. Some of you have no idea who this is. This is Beckett Seneke of the, I think I said his last name right, of the Anaheim Ducks. Remember the Demidov draft? Remember that one? Remember who the Anaheim Ducks took third? This kid. That's him. Right? Now, a lot of you are gonna be like, Chris, why do I need to know this kid's name? Why? Why should I know his name? Well, listen, small sample size. 2 goals, 1 assist, and 2 games played. Okay? Second line winger, second power play unit. I know it's a send line winger. It is what it is. I didn't proofread it, okay? Top 6 minutes. I'd like to see him on the top power play unit. He's a kid. We're getting there. Here's the good news, though. Despite not getting top power play minutes, he's averaging 18 minutes, which is very, very good, okay? 18 minutes a game is where you want your forwards to be. So he is there. And again, small sample size. I get it. Many of you are not watching the Anaheim Ducks late at night. I'm falling asleep to them, okay? It's good. It's a good fall asleep game, right? The Ducks to start the year have been very offensive. It's been go, go, go. They're scoring goals. They're giving up a bunch. But in fantasy hockey, at least for my care on my fantasy team, I'm not rooting for defense. I don't have any Lucas Dostal shares. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if the game finishes 7-6. I do not care. Which I think is what it finished against when they played San Jose or something. So, again, is the Ducks offense going to cool off? Probably. Is Seneke going to come down to earth at some point? Maybe. But that is speaking of young groups, that's a young group in Anaheim with a veteran coach in Joel Quenneville, who you may have forgotten is even coaching that team. So, as long as he's getting top 6 opportunities and his ice time is where it needs to be at 18 some odd minutes, if he can flirt with a point per game until for like most of the year, I'd be pretty happy with that. For a guy who's 14% owned on Yahoo, it's pretty good. Again, might not be, he's a rookie, so there's going to be growing pains here. But the Ducks look like they're at least willing to score more goals, which is good. They're shooting the puck, which is a necessity in order to score goals. So if you need a forward, a winger specifically, Seneke is the way to go here, okay? Learn the name. Write it down. Get your little paper pad out if you still use one. Write it down. Next, this one, no, I mean, you already know who Gino Malkin is, right? Evgeny Malkin is still here. He's still pushing. He's been here for a good time and a long time. He's only played 3 games. He's got 5 assists, though. He is. He's a second-line center. Note I spelled second correctly on this frame. Top power play minutes. Of course, he's like himself, Crosby, Letang when healthy, or Erik Karlsson. Doesn't matter who is there. Like, it's going well. He's playing 18 minutes a night, too. Here's the thing with Evgeny Malkin. You have to squeeze the fruit for all the juice that it has left, because at some point he's going to get hurt. It's just the way, death, taxes, and Evgeny Malkin not playing 82 games in a regular season. That's it. So you got to get the most out of Evgeny when you can. And it's going to be tough for the Pittsburgh Penguins on some nights. They're going to suck. So far, they have sucked less than I thought they would. And listen, if Malkin's out there dishing out assists, it's fine. It's fine. He's a good depth player on a fantasy hockey team when producing. And in the right matchup, it's good. Again, he's way past his prime. I don't even know if he finishes the year in Pittsburgh. Maybe he doesn't. But so far, he's getting the opportunity. He is healthy. Knock on wood. for now. His ownership is pretty. I thought it would be less than 42%, but it means that he's still out there. Most people draft him because of the name, right? Again, he's not the player he once was, but you can still get decent production out of him, especially in leagues where you have to, like, where faceoffs are counted. He still takes faceoffs. So there's still some value there if you wanted to go and grab Evgeny Malkin off the waiver wire if he is there. Okay? If you struck out on Nazar, maybe Malkin's still hanging around there. All right? That's number 4. Number 5, we're going to finish on a goalie. No defenseman. I couldn't find any that I cared about. Spencer Knight. That's right. There's 2 Blackhawks. Now you're thinking to yourself, Chris, why would I invest anything in a Chicago Blackhawks goalie? And listen, that's a fair question. That is absolutely fair. For one, okay, he has started 3 games this year, okay? A 235 goals against average and a 920 save percentage. Picked up a win as well. Those are not terrible numbers. Again, it's a small sample size. I get it, okay? But Spencer Knight is a good goalie. I don't think his time in Florida was necessarily bad. I just didn't think he didn't get a chance really to play consistently and go through the growing pains. And don't forget, for goalies, it takes longer, man. It takes longer to develop. Now he is in Chicago, like he's the top dog. He's the guy. That's it. He's going to play no matter what. That's his role. Now, goals against average and save percentage are sometimes a team metric. Okay. So what we use for the boomers, we use goals saved above expected. Okay. XGSA, if you're looking for it in the advanced analytics world. Okay. He is 4th in goals saved above expected. There is a metric that measures the goals that you've given up, what they think you should give, they think you should have given up. And then they find, so if you give up less goals than what you were expected, that is a good thing. The opposite is true as well. If you give up more goals than what you are expected, you will have a negative goal saved above expected. It means that you are hurting your team by playing. Spencer Knight gives the Chicago Blackhawks an opportunity to win when he plays. That's basically, that's the simple way to put it for those of you who are like, what is this? I'm not learning advanced analytics. He's there. And again, this is really important because he's on a pretty bad team, right? He's on a young team that's still learning. They're going through their growing pains. They still give up too many shots. And most people have taken notice that. He's 39% owned in Yahoo leagues. That means he's widely available. Even in maybe in deeper formats he's owned, of course. But in a 12-team league, there's let's say you have 2 goalies, you have 24 goalies. He's probably not even one of them. And there are probably people who have decided their third goalie is going to be like the handcuff of that goalie, right? The backup or whatnot. Just makes it easier in case your star goalie gets hurt. I think there's a conversation to have Spencer Knight be your. I can understand him being your third goalie. I think that's where he should be. Your second goalie might be a stretch, right? Unless you have mediocre goalies, unless you have let's say 3 starting goalies, then Knight can be your third. The problem is you probably can't run him out there every night, right? If you spot start him correctly, so matchups where Chicago plays at home against a favorable opponent, you're probably going to get decent results out of him, right? Every once in a while, on the road, Chicago's going to struggle. He's going to get bombarded. If you're looking for a goalie who's going to face a lot of shots and you don't necessarily get penalized for it, if you don't get penalized for a goalie losing games, then that boosts his stock even more. But for me, I think right now, he deserves to be on a fantasy team, even in a 12-teamer. Right? 14-team makes sense because you have 2 goalies, 28 of them. There's 32 NHL jobs. You know what I mean? And some teams we don't even care about. So there is a conversation to be had here for Spencer Knight for at least as a goalie with his stats to be top 20. He could finish as a top 20 fantasy goalie He can. Will he? That's a whole other different question. Now, top 20 is not terrible for a guy who's literally free. Okay? He's free. And think about it. Maybe your fantasy team is going to suffer some injuries or goalies are going to struggle at different times. Maybe the Blackhawks aren't as bad as everybody thinks they will be. Maybe they surprise us. It's unlikely, but we've seen crazier things happen in fantasy hockey. So, Spencer Knight is a goalie I would at least keep on the radar. If you need one, good idea to go get one. All right? He's the guy I would target. Let's go through this again because I know some of you missed this. Let's start again. Frank Nazar. You can add him in leagues where you're not with me. He might be there. Number 2, Zach Bolduc. Again, good opportunity here. Beckett Seneke. Great ad as well. Evgeny Malkin. Still kicking, still doing it. Go ahead. And Spencer Knight. Merci. There you go. That was my presentation for the day. That's my presentation for today. Make sure you go out and add those players. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the podcast. As always, I appreciate you all hanging out with me. Okay? It's been a great week for hockey already. We're just starting. It's going to get fantastic. As always, if you found yourself in here by accident because of the YouTube algorithm, go ahead, hit the sub button, ring the bell, follow the podcast, share it with a friend. It helps. It helps the podcast more than anything. You can follow me on X at FuzzyChris91. You can follow the podcast on X as well. Okay, at Slapshot Podcast. You hit the link tree. You can find the podcast in every audio form that you enjoy. Go ahead and subscribe there. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me. Okay, it's been a blast. I love you. We'll talk to each other next week.